Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Beautiful day here today, and they say there may be a storm brewing out there, or maybe out there, or maybe out there. Huh. How to prepare. So let's give you a little context of what I'm talking about, and I'm going to try very hard not to be political, as I don't want that to be part of this channel. But the storm they're talking about might have something to do with things that are politically inspired and out of our control. So how do you prepare for something like that? Yeah, food for thought. And I'm going to be interested to see what you guys might be doing to be preparing for a storm that they keep saying might be happening this fall, right? I mean, regardless of what any of us think of individually, we can't help but to be hearing about a possible coming storm. So in my 30 years of living off grid, I've prepared for many storms. Some that you could just know were coming by the news, whether it was a huge snowstorm that was going to lock us up for a long time indoors, and living at 8,000 feet or over. I was about 8,300 feet up there. And I took notice of all the storms that I had to endure up there. And some of them were quite severe. And for me, in preparations for all of those things that we knew were coming, it was always the same. Food, water, and shelter is all I needed to have in place to ride the storm out. And then the first storm I ever prepared for that wasn't a weather-related storm was back at the turn of the century, way back, if you guys can remember, in 2000, or when the clocks were going to click over to 2000, there was a lot of noise about Y2K was going to shut everything down, and it was going to be crazy. People were going to be out in the streets. There would be shortages of everything. And this is before the internet. I didn't even have a computer, although I did pay attention to what they were talking about. I didn't quite understand that just the difference of a 1 and a 0 might alter my life out in the wilderness. And I did take a little extra precaution because they were talking about possible widespread food shortages and chaos, and all of the distribution of our essential services would be interrupted. So, like a lot of people, I stocked up extra on food and bought a few 50-pound bags of, beans and cornmeal and things like that, just in case. It wasn't a huge expenditure. I was always stockpiled for snowstorms, which could last for a very long time and keep me snowed in for weeks or months. So that wasn't that big of a stretch for me to think, well, okay, if there was some sort of kind of unrest out there that was out of my control, and the sunshine wasn't just going to melt the problems away eventually, like with a snowstorm. Yeah, I stocked up on a few extra things and didn't need it. Y2K never happened, but there were people out in that wilderness area that were stockpiling all kinds of things. I mean, burying containers under the ground with whatever they thought they needed. Yeah. So now, we're talking about, other storms on the horizon. So, I watch the weather out here quite a bit. And, You know, I looked out in the Pacific Basin. There's no hurricanes blowing right now. And just like when I lived in the mountains, living out here, I'm always stockpiled with food, water, and shelter for any eventuality, storm related, of course. And now they're talking about a storm that, you know, don't know what to make of it, don't know what to think of it. Everyone's kind of up in the air, trying to figure out how to prepare. So I wanted to ask you guys, how are you preparing for any disruption that we may see for a looming storm? Yeah, for me, it just doesn't change. It always comes down to food, water, and shelter. I'm always thinking about that. I'm not thinking of anything much different than that. But I've talked to a lot of people, and, you know, the storm everyone's talking about happening in the fall out here and everywhere, it is making me think a lot. And how could I change what I just do normal day to day out here? And I really don't have an answer for that. I mean, I've talked with people just recently that are saying, wow, I'm not even going to keep my money in the bank, and this and that. And I mean, there's a multitude of scenarios that are being played out right now, and too much fear being injected into our society for sure. People are running a little scared. And what do? Cross your fingers and hope for the best? I've always hoped for the best, regardless of any kind of storm that was coming. You know, prepare, hurricanes coming my way. Hope the house stands. Try to have a couple of backup plans in case I take some damage. Make sure I can keep myself nourished with food and water. And it always comes down to the basics for me. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys might be doing for the a coming storm, regardless of what it is. I mean, this is the anniversary right now of the fire last year on Maui that burned an entire town down. You know, how do you prepare for something like that? And what are you going to do if something like that happens? Well, you have to leave. You have to go somewhere else. You have to get out of the way. Now, I've ridden a few hurricanes out here, and I've taken some damage, and I've had to cut my way out to the road with a chainsaw before, and I'm prepared to do that again, although I don't feel like I really have the energy to do that most of the times. But you know, if trees are knocking, blocking my way in and out, then of course I'll get out there and do that. So, you know, I'm always thinking of these things, and I don't try to get myself inundated with the news because it's too much and it would disrupt my normal life out here. So yeah, thinking about all these things, I don't know what I would change differently. I mean, I have my power from the sun, as all of you guys know. I catch my own rainwater, and I'm doing fine with all of that. I do always store up extra food, so in the event of a known common storm like a hurricane, I know after that hits, food flies off the shelves, everything flies off the shelves, and it takes a few weeks for all the distribution networks to kind of settle down and get back in place. And I don't want to be out there with the masses scrambling for what precious few things are available. I want to sit out here and wait for that to settle down. So that's how I always keep myself stocked up, is trying to avoid being out there if that does happen. Rather be back here, rather just be, relaxed about it. I can wait a while. I can wait weeks or months if I have to, for things to settle down. So with all of this going on, that's still my mindset. But I'm really curious how a lot of you guys are preparing for any kind of eventuality. You know, I know people in California right now, close to those fires. I know people in Colorado close to those fires. People have to bug out. I'm on an island out here. I don't really have a great bug out plan, although, I've got a volcano that's getting active again. And if that lava ever comes my way, then yeah, I have to bug out. I have to leave here if it's coming right for the place. No choice in that whatsoever. So, I do have that kind of a bug out plan. If lava's coming, or if for sure they say the hurricane is going to smack us real good, that, and there's been times where they did say that, and I chose to stay back here and managed okay. But, I am flexible to have to load a few things up in the vehicle and bug out, depending what happens. So yeah, I just really wanted to have a discussion with you guys. Like, what are you guys thinking about? Yeah, and I'm not trying to be political at all. I'm just like, how do we all prepare for these types of things? Because we're going to have to help each other. We always do help each other when things happen, right? In previous storms, whether I was here or in the Rockies, we all pitched in. We all tried to make things better. We all tried to help our neighbors. I really believe that will continue to be the case. And I know that that's what I will be doing. If my neighbor across the street needs help, I'm going to help them. So, and that's the way it was in the mountains, and that's the way it is out here, regardless of the situation. So, yeah, for me, it's always just food, water, and shelter. Make sure I have enough of that in place to ride out any kind of a storm, Anyway, I'm just curious what you guys would think. I think it's a good discussion to have. Yeah, some storms you got to get out of the way for sure. You got to move. You got to hit the road. No, you don't want to put yourself in danger if they say the storm's going to smack you right upside of the head, right? And we've all probably had to move here or there during some of these types of storms that we encounter. Always have. I remember one time got buried with 7 feet of snow up in the mountains. I didn't move for months, but I was okay. I had food, water, and shelter, and a lot of movies on VHS back in the day to while away the time, as well as just read a book, or 2 or 3. And I can do the same thing out here too. Yeah. But yeah, back to the storm. That there's still rumblings about something in the fall. Going to be, stormy conditions for all of us. Like one big storm that'll affect us from coast to coast and out here on the islands as well. No matter where I go, people are talking about that looming storm. Yeah. I don't know anything to do differently than I just do every day, that I've done just every day for the past 30 years. That feels out of my control. A hurricane I can watch on the satellite and see day by day by day how much closer it's getting to me. Is it time to load up the truck and think about heading to higher ground? That I know how to do. But the type of storm that we're being flooded with information about, I think it's causing too much anxiety for everybody, and no one knows what to do for that type of a storm. I can't see people turning on people. That doesn't make any sense to me. Not when I've always got through storms by people helping people. That's got to be the way it stays. So yeah, interested to hear what you guys think. For me, it's the same. food, water, and shelter. And that's just the way I live every single day. And that gives me comfort and security. And quiet, peace and quiet. That's what I'm looking for, peace and quiet. All right, guys, let me know what you think. And we'll just keep looking out there. Yeah. Aloha, everybody. We're all in this together, right? That's right. We're all in this together. Got to have each other's backs. Never know when a storm's going to hit. Just be semi-prepared at least, right? But I can't wait to hear what some of you guys are preparing for. Yeah. I know fully 3 different families that have made plans to ride the storm of the fall as they see it coming to bug out to Mexico. Yeah, kind of extreme. I understand, but I'm staying here. This is home. I'm keeping myself planted at home. The thought of going to some place where I don't know the language, the culture, and it's too damn hot. So yeah, lots of people making plans.